Hi guys, I am really excited to have Jye Brant with me today to talk about his show, The Things I Could Never Tell Stephen. Jye, lovely to see you.
Thank you for having me on. I think this is so exciting. Here we are talking in
Well,
two different states.
that's terrific, terrific. So now this is a show that you've written and has actually been touring around the world, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, this is the seventh international season of it, which is exciting. Um, so I've seen quite a few versions now.
Yeah, and you've got some great people leading this show. But before I get to them, can you tell us a bit about the story of the show? So it's a musical comedy. What's it about?
So it is a story about one person, I guess, in some sense. And that one person, to sort of spoil the show, I guess, to some extent, you don't meet that person. But the show is about that person, and it's about the four people in his life, the four closest people in his life, that are desperately trying to get his attention and his affection. And I guess we sort of realize that he's not a very nice or good person. And so the show sort of is about things, well, as the title suggests, things that we don't tell people in our life. And it sort of, I guess, explores why do we hold back on the things we don't share with people. And each character has their own reasons why they don't tell this character who we never meet. And yeah, it's a sort of armchair philosophy.
I love it. It's what an intriguing premise. What was the inspiration behind that?
Um, well, a fair few years back now, I just, for some reason, the title sort of came to me, and I sort of thought that'd be an interesting thing, like a show about the things we don't tell people, because that's sort of that invisible, like what we don't know, what we don't tell people. People, we don't know what other people aren't telling us, even. Like that's sort of a tricky thing. It's almost like an imaginary world in some sense. And so I thought it could be an interesting thing to explore. And so from there, I just started to then write songs about things I probably wouldn't tell someone about. And then sort of characters emerged out of that and then took on its own life, really. And then in a bit of a backwards way, sort of a storyline emerged from all of these things. So um, sneaky way of writing a musical.
That's really fascinating. And I was lucky in when I started producing shows, I got to produce a locally written musical, and there's just something so uniquely Australian about the way we write things. So tell me a
Yeah.
bit about who's playing the characters in your show.
So we have Australia's best musical theatre performers in this case. Um, so we have Helen Dallymore, who's playing the mum. So there's four characters in terms of this particular show. So it's only a very small cast, and it's also very COVID safe because the characters actually don't really interact with each other, which is quite useful. So we've got Helen Dallymore playing the mother, who's an overbearing alcoholic, who's desperately seeking her son's attention and affection. We have Ian Stenlake playing the father, who is a very typical, stifled, I guess, like stereotypical father who maybe has come from a fairly maybe traditional background where he doesn't know how to share his feelings to his son. Um, we have Adam Redding playing the ex, who is someone who, from the lead character's life, who has I guess been involved in life, but doesn't realise that our lead character is holding things back. And then we have Eleanor Rockabaro, who is the wife character, and so she is desperately in love with Stephen, the lead character, and she's sort of sweet and she's innocent, and there's a whole lot of crap going on behind the scenes that she's just totally unaware of, which yeah, so they're the four, and the show just is an interweaving of solos. There's three cast numbers where they sort of all sing with each other, but not with each other. It's filled with them contacting Stephen, so you have them leaving voicemails for him. we know he's not dead. That's one thing. That's one thing we know he's not dead, because he is occasionally returning calls, but we never hear his voice, and he never comes on stage. So yeah, how's that?
Sounds terrific. Sounds absolutely fantastic. But it also sounds like it would have been a lot of fun to write.
I think I enjoyed the process, because for me, the exciting part was, first of all, like coming up with a show where the lead character is so unlikable. That was really, because I sort of ran with this idea, how unlikable could he be and the show still works? Yeah, he's unlikable, but the show still seems to work because we don't really care about him, but we care about the 4 people in front of us, maybe, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Have you got a... No, I'm not going to ask that question. I was going to say whether you had a favourite moment, but that's just going to spoil things. We'll let the audiences enjoy it. So
yeah, there are a few favourite moments in there which tickle my funny bone every time I see it. It's just my favourite moment, and the one moment in particular where I can't wait for that moment in the show.
I love that. It's one of my favourite things as a producer producing shows, is being able to sit in an audience, watch the audience reactions when certain things are about to happen in the show, and I get so much pleasure. I used to be a bit of a performer on the local theatre stage, and I love to work an audience and have fun with that. I love to direct, and create those moments. But even as a producer, just to be sitting on the edge of my seat, going, okay, the audience is going to love this, let's see, and them just burst out laughing or whatever it is. I can only imagine what it's like as a writer.
Well, it's validating in lots of ways, because you think it might be funny, but you can't always know what's funny to people. There are rules around comedy which you can sort of rely on to some extent, but different audiences laugh at some things and not others, and you sort of think, oh, how did they miss that? Because I actually think that's really funny, or whatever. Or they'll laugh at some things, you'll think, I didn't even realize that was funny.
Well, with 7 international seasons now for the show, has the show changed much? Have you seen some of these things and gone, I want to... Yeah?
Yeah, well, I've seen every version of it, not all of them in person. Some of them I've sort of watched, from, my studio at home, and then it's being performed in like Belfast or whatever. I get to see some footage of it, which is really exciting to sort of go, okay, my humor works in Belfast. It may not always work here, but it works in Belfast. But different people's takes on it. There's so many different versions, and it's interesting because I don't always agree with the versions either. I think, that's not how I wrote it. But again, sometimes the audience really enjoys it, and you think, okay, well, maybe I actually missed something in the writing that a director has seen or something.
Now, I'll just let our audiences know. So this is being produced by the National Theatre of Parramatta at Riverside Theatre. It's running from the 5th to the 14th of November, so highly recommend everyone go and see it. We're going to try and get up to Sydney to see it.
Good, how exciting.
Absolutely love to. I mean, we've been busting to get out of Canberra for however long now. And we keep having to cancel trips because of this damn virus going around. But we'll definitely try to get up there. So the show that's currently on is The Things I Could Never Tell Stephen, playing at the Riverside Theatre, 5th to the 14th of November. Make sure you get your tickets. I believe one of those is live streamed as well, so you can get a virtual ticket.
That's it. I think that's Wednesday coming up. So this Wednesday night, you can buy a virtual ticket on their Facebook page and possibly the website, but definitely the Facebook page. If you just go to Parramatta Riverside or National Theatre of Parramatta, either of those two, it has the link and you can buy a ticket. I think that they were $18, I think, for the streamed version, and that'll be on Wednesday night, this Wednesday coming.
Well, we'll link in this video to it so people.
Perfect.
So, Jye, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute delight.
It's great to meet you, and thank you for all this. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. Keep up the good work with this. This is exactly what we need in our industry, I think, in Australia.
I love our industry. There's just so much creativity, so much wonderful work, and so many wonderful people. And I've been loving meeting them. and look
This is
forward
it.
to what else is coming.